In the last lecture, we discussed about the local and global scopes and how they determine the scope of the variable within the function and outside the function. And in this lecture, we will explore the global keyword, what it is, when to use it, and why it is important. In Python, variables have different scopes, local, enclosing, global, and built-in. By default, when you assign a variable inside the function, it is considered local to that function. We discussed about this in the last lecture. But what if you need to modify a variable that exists outside the function? This is where the global keyword comes into play. It allows the function to modify a variable that is defined in the global scope. So let's move over to the Jupyter notebook and see how we can make use of this global keyword. As we saw in the last lecture, we have this variable m declared globally with a value 30. And when we used it within the function and redefined the value, it entirely behaves like a local variable to this function. So let's have another example on this. Let's say x equals 10. This is a global variable. Now let's define a function, update x. We say def update x. And within the function, let's say x equals x plus 5. So here we try to modify the global variable x. And let's print the value of x after this modification. We say print inside function x equals x. Now let's try to run this function update x. And we get an error. When we run this code, Python throws an error, unbound local error, local variable x referenced before assignment. Why this error? This is because when we assign the value of x inside the function, Python treats it as a new local variable, but we are trying to read x before assigning a value to it, and this causes the error. We thought we are changing the value of the global variable x, but when we define this x within the function, Python is treating it as a local variable. It looks for a declaration of x first before assigning the value to it. Since we have not declared it within the function, it is giving this error. So how can we modify the global variable within this function? This is where we make use of the global keyword. So let's use the global keyword to explicitly tell Python that we want to modify the global x. Now let's modify this update x. Within the function, we will just add the keyword global. So we say global x. Then we will say x equals x plus 5. At this point, Python understands that we are trying to make use of the global x. So x is declared here, but it is not treated as a local variable, but it just considers the local variable which is already declared outside the function. So when we say x equals x plus 5, it just considers this global variable and adds 5 to it. So now let's run this update x function and also print the value of x after this function call. So as we run this code, x is successfully modified inside the function and the change is reflected globally. So we can see the output. Inside the function, the value of x is 15, and also outside the function, the value of x is 15. So it is the same x which is being referred within the function as well as outside the function. While global can be useful, it should be used with caution. Modifying the global variable inside the function can make the code harder to debug and maintain. Instead of relying on global, a better approach is often to pass variables as function arguments and return updated values. So let's see how we can modify this program to do the same process in a better way. So here we have x equals 10, which is the global variable. And within this update x function, let's have a parameter value. And we say value plus equals 5. So here value is treated as a local copy. And so the local copy value is added with 5. And we return this as an output. Now let's call this function update x of x. And we assign this value to x. So this function takes one argument, which is actually the global value x. We pass 10 here. And now within the function body, this 10 is added with 5. So it becomes 15. And we return this value and we capture this value in the same global variable x. So the value of x becomes 15. Now let's print this value. The updated value of x is 15. This method is more structured and avoids unexpected changes to the global variable. So we don't modify the global variable directly. but we take this global variable as a parameter within the function and treat this global variable as a local variable within the function and modify it. In this lecture, we have understood how to use the global keyword to use the global variable within the function. So to summarize, the global keyword allows a function to modify the variable in the global scope. However, it should be used carefully to avoid unwanted side effects. Instead of modifying the global variable directly, it is usually better to pass values into the functions and return the result. In the next lecture, we will discuss about the non-local keyword, which is used to define the variable scopes within the nested function. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. I would love to hear from you, your thought on this tutorial. Please leave your comments at the bottom. Please subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you for watching and see you again soon.